Hello and welcome back to Therian Nation News. I'm your wolfish host, Overvith. I spent a little bit more time on Facebook this month, and what I'd like to talk about in this video is a comment that I received on my image about Therianthropy Day back from November 2018. Let's look at that. But this individual said, I think Therianthropy Day is well-intentioned, but I don't think it's going to help. I'm also a little skeptical of the intentions because this is a much broader community than just Therianthropes, and a small ideological group of individuals are the only ones promoting Therianthropy as an independent community. The rest of us are quite content to recognize we are part of a larger community that is much more than Therianthropy and includes other non-humans, the OC, I think that means otherkin community, the VC, vampire community, I'm gonna guess, pagans, and all measure of identities and beliefs. I'm gonna put my response to that on the screen, and you could pause and read it. And then there was another reply to that. I am not sorry for trying to develop Therian culture, traditions, and trying to keep old ones like Howls. I will not apologize for sharing the history of the Therian community, which did develop somewhat independently of the otherkin community. Maybe they have merged over the years, I won't deny that, but none of us will have a strong sense of community or who we are if we never meet other people like us in person. Howls can include otherkin. No one ever said that they couldn't. I'm sure most organizers would be inclusive of otherkin if they took a serious interest in participating. The term Howl is for all Therians, not just those who identify as wolves. I don't see Therianthropy Day as a holiday. I'm not the one calling it that. It's the other people who have an issue with it, trying to make it a bigger deal than it really is. This is just a day of acknowledgement to look back on our history. Orion Scribner tried to start an Otherkin Day. It's July 9th each year. If Otherkin can't organize or don't want to acknowledge that day, that can't be blamed on Therians or the Therian community. We shouldn't be kept from having a day just because Otherkin aren't interested in something similar for themselves, or because there is someone out there who thinks we shouldn't. Anyway, Otherkin was originally used as a term so that we didn't need to say elves, orcs, fairies, dragons, unicorns, griffins, centaurs, minotaurs, satyrs, and fauns, and mermaids, and so on, all individually. Otherkin was never a tier or level of identity with Therians underneath. Now, some people believe that Otherkin is the only label that anyone should be allowed to use. Therians are not below Otherkin. We are all equals and should have a choice of what label we use. If I recall correctly from a few years ago, the vampire community did not want to be included in the otherkin umbrella either. Of course, everyone's an individual. I think some vampires are okay with the otherkin term, some are okay with the alterhuman term. But just like there are some Therians who just want to be Therians, there are some vampires who just want to be vampires, and they don't want to use either of those other terms, and I think that should be perfectly acceptable. If you watched my other news videos recently, I noticed that the Dragonkin community seems to be alive and growing again. It's not completely dead anymore. At what point do we keep people from developing culture? Because there's some larger label that they fit under, and some larger community that can incorporate the small one. Can the dragons not create new forums and websites? Should the Norwegian Dragonkin gathering stop? The ideology that we can't acknowledge smaller groups because there's a larger label that they could potentially fit under is just absurd to me. It's almost like a strange way to try to discourage anyone from identifying as non-human. In truth, we're all part of the human species, which is a much larger label than otherkin or alterhuman. The label human and the human species incorporates more people and a larger population. So therefore, we can't talk about our non-human feelings. It's very extreme, but that's where this line of thinking is going if we can't have Therianthropy Day. In the extreme, I can interpret this as no one's allowed to be an individual here. That's the exact opposite of what the non-human community is meant to be. It's supposed to be about self-exploration and individuals learning about themselves. There is an option to be part of this online community and share those discoveries. There's also the option to not participate online or in certain spaces, because people should have the freedom to choose what label they use. Therians can share their history and advocate for gatherings. Dragons can share their community history. Unicorns were once their own community. Vampires, otherkin, alterhuman, everyone please care about your unique non-human history and share it. Take interest in the history of others. Don't let it be forgotten. Let's all work together to try to develop positive traditions, organize events and gatherings. Let's make the present good so that we leave an interesting story worth being remembered by future generations of Therians, otherkin, vampires, and alterhumans. Whatever you identify as, let's all get together, online, in real life, smaller groups and communities, larger groups and communities, it doesn't matter. Let's be open and supportive, not downers and closed off, not elitists trying to police each other beyond reason and applying ridiculous rules. And I'll just leave that there. Thank you very much for watching.